Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. Hope everyone's where you are, and welcome to Black Wednesdays. I hope people out there enjoy it. And once again, I think, as I mentioned before, on Monday for Black Mondays, normally Black Wednesdays was seen as a negative thing. Like I think it was a market crash or something like that that happened obviously on a Wednesday. But I was thinking of taking the term and using it for a positive, or as a positive. So. To promote, say, especially works by Black people and that kind of thing for Black History Month. I'm mainly trying to focus on, I suppose, Black British people, Africans and Indian Australasians, but I suppose it could be Black people around the world. But I'd love to know if you've heard of any Black British authors or works by Black British people and or Africans or people from Australasia, especially, and possibly other parts of Europe as well. Maybe even parts of the Americas as well. Although I'd say I want to focus more on African American history in February, but all being well. But yeah, if you are a Black author yourself, please post any books you have if you want to use this as a free space to market your books or anything that would benefit the Black community, especially in terms of writing and works for Wednesday. I stick to alliterations. So anyway, as I say, I hope you enjoy this, and I hope also to get some writing on paper as well myself about my general dreams as well. But anyway, here goes. Enough waffling for the intro. As I say, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope members of the Black community in Britain and all around the world check out these videos. So here goes. So number one, I'd love to support Black. Number two, I would love to support Black artists. And help raise their profile, for instance, and hopefully people will share links on both my Facebook and YouTube channels or whatnot and hopefully be inspired to check out Black poets and artists to Google and check out on YouTube any lists of Black poets and artists. Number three, also Black writers mainly, and I call this Black Poor. Poor stands for poets, artists, and writers, and in this case, Black poor. I could also say, like for dyslexia, when I was talking about dyslexia as well, I could say dyslexic poor. But in this case, I'm going to say Black poor, which I think is quite fitting. But yeah, so that stands for Black poets, artists, and writers in this case. Number four, I'd love to hear from. I forgot to say in the intro, actually, I'd love to, as I often say, I'd love to interview members of the Black community in Britain and around the world. So about your experiences, people like from the Windrush generation, for instance, and whatnot, to tell your story. This would be a chance for you to tell your story. So I hope to do so ASAP. Unfortunately, I wasn't organised enough to do so. So I doubt it'll be before November, but maybe in November. Hopefully in November, if not before, all being well. It would be great to do so before the end of this month, but I take too much on, so I suppose, and managing to promote the idea and get people involved. But members of the Black community, this is your chance, Black individuals and community members and whatnot, this is your chance to tell your story and that kind of thing. But yeah, so also I'd love to hear from about Black people who are against wars and anti-war members, anti-war movements and things like that. And I think it'd be great to encourage African countries to prevent wars and division in their countries and across the continent. I'd love to promote Pan-Africanism, and I think it'd be great to see Black people around the world unite together. Maybe Black History Month could be used to sort of kick off that process to unite Black people to be against wars. Controversially, I don't believe Black people should join the military, and if they unite, I think if more Black people are in the police and the law, which I mentioned before, as solicitors, lawyers, barristers, judges, and whatnot, and learn about the law and have legal representation and things like legal lobby groups and whatnot, I think they will be able to support their rights a lot better, and maybe even prevent things like Windrush happening again, and ensure the Windrush generation gets their reparations, compensations, and things like that. Anywho, moving on. Number five, I'd love to support Black people's ambitions generally, especially for Wednesdays. I hope to focus more on. I know this is the last Wednesday actually of the month, but I hope to focus more on like as poets, artists, writers, and things like that. So I hope to encourage Black works Wednesdays, writing Wednesdays, and things like that. Works done by Black people from Britain and around the world, as I say, including Indigenous Australasians, Africans, and that sort of thing, especially also in Europe, perhaps as well. And again, looking at how Black people can work together to help each other to achieve their individual goals as well as goals as a group. I was thinking that if the Black community did get reparations for historical injustices such as slavery, colonialism, loss of land, loss of liberty, and things like that, then if that ever did happen and it worked out, and tax exemptions, if they got tax exemptions, and like the former slave owners got compensation apparently, but the slaves themselves did not. Like I said, the ancestry, it's the opposite of the ancestry. I'm not sure what the offspring of or descendants, I think that's the right word, the offspring and especially the descendants of slavery did not get compensation. So maybe there's something they could do. And for a community leader, let's say, who they trust, who's a unifying figure, who could invest in the Black community. I think I would have said those points on Monday and Tuesday, but I forgot. Anyway, moving on, number 6, a rather selfish one and an unfair bias. I know I often say this one, but I'd love to see what Black people could do to help Italian football to become world class, to help Italian football teams like the Migrants in Italy, for instance, or improve. Basically, if Italy improves relations with the Black community, how that could help. Number 7, same for Celtic, as I often say. Number 8, and so I'd love for Italian football, Celtic, FC, dyslexics, and members of the Black community, Black people, and the community members, and that kind of thing, to all come together somehow and work together. So Italy to improve its relations with members of the Black community and to raise awareness of dyslexia through football in Italy. So hopefully Italians with dyslexia will be treated better as well. And Celtic, which already does a lot of good work for charity, including tackling racism, hopefully be rewarded for the good work they do in terms of tackling racism and tackling prejudice. Hopefully that members of the Black community will find out about Celtic and what they do to tackle racism. So hopefully, especially those into football, and even those who are not into football, will get into Celtic as well. And there is someone who actually made a YouTube video saying why he, as a Black person, supports Celtic. And I know I've talked about why I, as a minority, support the Black community. And with the Irish diaspora, I think they kind of have a lot in common with the Black community, and I think they should have even better relations, I think. But yeah, Celtic being of Irish descent, generally speaking, or initially of Irish descent anyway, hence why I mentioned that. Number 9, once again, I'd love to support projects by Black people, especially works, writings, and all that kind of thing. As I talked before about, I think there was another point when I went for a walk I was thinking about, I can't quite remember it, but anyway, might remember it later. But anywho, number 10, I would love to support young Black people to learn how to get into becoming poets, artists, and writers. And I suppose I could have said in point number 9, 9 reminds me of P, so not that type of P, sorry. Not the best at communication, I know, but paperwork, because it's like it reminds me of a backwards P, so the letter P, that is, of course. So I was thinking priorities, like what are the priorities for Black individuals and members of the community, and what would you like to see? Like, I think unity would be a great thing. Being united together, I think, is worth even more than money, diamonds, gold, things like that. But I'd love to know what you think. And peace and love. I am out.